Welcome to a special edition of Face of the Franchise. I'm here with one of my good friends, a 49ers fan. So you know where this is going to all go to. My boy Alex, he is in Delaware right now. He is from the Bay Area, so I'll give him a pass for being a 49ers fan, Lakers fan, and all that stuff. But yeah, football is back. Not a moment too soon. Heartbreak, heartache, everything in between could happen for some teams, like the Giants, the Bears, the Jets we just saw on Monday, or the Bills we saw on Monday night. A certain team in Pennsylvania that I really wish I was a different fan of, but sometimes you got to take the good with the bad. I had wonderful years of Steelers football, but enough with that. Alex, how you doing, my man? Introduce yourself. I know I gave a little bit of synopsis, but go
You
right
did, you did. Thank you for having me on the show. Much appreciated. And I had to wait a long 24 hours for this podcast to happen. I was anxious to get on
ahead.
and glad that we're finally on.
All right. Well, I'm happy you're happy. I'm not happy, but yeah, we can start.
A lot of teams are not happy.
Hey, 50% of the league is not happy. Let's say it that way. One being a Super Bowl contender in the Bengals, losing to Cleveland. But we will start with our game so we can just get it over with. The 49ers went into great old Acrisure Stadium, now it's called. Showed everybody why that they are a Super Bowl contender more so than anything. Pittsburgh Steelers looked like they were lost. A bunch of kids playing in the playground, basically just throwing the ball around, and they were like the 6-year-olds that want to play with the big kids. And like, can we play with you? And the big kids say, no, you can't play with us. And they finally let them and show them why the little kids can't play with them. My first person that I want to apologize to for the whole organization is TJ Watt. He is the only person who came to play. He is going to be in the running for Defensive Player of the Year with your boy Nick Bosa, Micah Fitzpatrick, Myles Garrett. Fitzpatrick for us, Marcus Parsons is going to be in the Defensive Player of the Year category. Sorry. Micah Fitzpatrick, on the other hand, did okay this time around. Cam Hayward, don't know, got injured, but I'm going to keep it as PG as possible with our offense.
Before we get to the offense, let's just start with you were actually there. So describe the atmosphere there, week one, the hype. What were people saying before the game? Just what the vibe was around the city of Pittsburgh and the stadium.
Oh, if you want me to be completely honest, I'm glad you asked this question. I have been to that stadium a multitude of times. I've been there for many games, many reasons, all that stuff. That was the first time I ever felt that the visiting team outnumbered us. The 49ers came in droves. I know one of the I don't know if you listen to Pro Football Talk on NBC. Mike Flores said he was coming from wherever he's from to Dallas to Pittsburgh, and he saw a lot of 49ers fans going to Pittsburgh. And it's true. A lot of fans were there in red and gold. I mean, black and gold represented, sure. I was in kind of next to I was behind the Steelers bench in the end zone, and I could see a lot of red. And I was like, wow, the atmosphere is kind of crazy. I didn't feel the Pittsburgh vibe that I usually feel for like a Ravens game or a Browns game. It just seemed weird. I don't know. For me personally, I'm never positive. So I was not positive for this game. I just wanted to be close enough so I can say we hung around with the Super Bowl contender, kind of like we did last year with the Bengals, beat them. But yeah, I mean, the atmosphere itself was great. Pittsburgh in game day is something always I enjoy, even if there was an outnumber of 49ers fans. But it was great. It was a good atmosphere. My seats were awesome. Thank you. Shout out Marina, my sister, for getting. I'm doxing her right now, giving her name out, but it was an amazing.
Yeah, she did well with those tickets for sure.
So the introduction for the game where they introduced either offense or defense, we did defense, of course, was amazing. Seeing TJ do his leap, Cam Hayward yelling, doing all that stuff, It was amazing. It was a great time. Everything was fun but the game. Let's just say it that way. Everything fun was fun more than the game. So
up until the game. Well, like you said, with the Niners fans, they travel well. So, like as a fan, I'm used to it because they have taken over a multitude of stadiums in the like last 5-6 years. So it doesn't matter if they're playing in Los Angeles or they're playing in Philly, they're playing in Pittsburgh, they're gonna travel.
exactly, and I think that's the crazy thing is with this. There's some franchises that have pride. I think our two franchises have pride to do that. And I've seen Steelers take over LA. I've seen Steelers take over Dallas. I've seen them take over Green Bay. Yeah, it's just weird how it's on the other foot. So, but
And those are not easy stadiums to take over, like you said, Dallas, Green Bay, the big, stadiums, historical stadiums with big fan bases as well.
yeah, I wish I was in a more positive mood about it, but So what do you?
Well,
you want me to start with the offense? What do you want me to do? You want to start?
I mean, yeah, let's start offense. Let's talk about Pittsburgh's offense. They got the ball first. What were your thoughts on their first half?
So, very weird way of starting the game, honestly. We won the coin toss. They said they wanted to receive. In this day and age, you always want to start the second half with the ball. So I thought they were trying to punk them a little bit, punk the 49ers and saying, we're going to get the ball first and kind of like, we're going to try to score on you and da-da-da-da. Then I watched the offense. And then I actually watched the offense. When I say it's a bunch of little kids running around, it's an understatement. It was the most unprepared piece of shit I have ever seen in my entire life. Like, probably the worst play calling to date. And I've seen us run 25 times. I've seen us do jet sweeps 25 times. This was by far the worst. Whatever was the game plan they had in mind, they didn't adjust it. They didn't try to do anything and make Kenny Pickett, I think personally, make him look worse than he is. I'm not saying he's good by any means. I just think when we're going against a defense that's very intelligent, like the 49ers, who have Greenlaw, Warner, I'm going to fuck up his name, but Tagovailoa, whatever his name is, the safety.
Hufanga. Yeah.
Ward, side. Like, you have to have plays to keep them off guard, but they didn't have that. And I think, really, I called every play. I felt like I could call every play. I was like, out and out here, Najee up the middle, whatever this. And it just seemed like Kenny was trying to do more than he needed to because the offense was so inept. He was just trying to overcome it, and that's why he threw 2 interceptions. Granted, they were passes that he threw that weren't very good, and I don't know if it was the regression of him or the play calling. The run game couldn't get going. The only thing I said we did well was Nick Bosa didn't get there. That was the kind of craziest thing was Nick Bosa didn't get to our quarterback, but everybody else did. So it was like
they did have 5 sacks on the day, but yeah, not one was recorded by Bosa.
That's what I'm saying. It's like we focused so much on Bosa, we forgot the whole defensive line was actually better. Like, had good players.
That's his gravity, though. Is he pulls 2-3 blockers, 2 blockers and a running back to his side. Now everything opens up for the other guys. See,
that's funny. And then we go talk about our side. TJ got 3 sacks and nobody else helped him. So I mean, like
we will get to the Steelers defense.
No.
Trust me.
I know I'm foreshadowing, but offensively, terrible. Your offense, you could talk more about your offense, but I feel like yours is a little bit of a better day than mine.
Yeah, so real quick, I think for the Steelers offense too, like Kenny Pickett, I guess had a false sense of hope because they were doing so well in the preseason. Like we watched the highlights, 5-6 touchdowns on 5-6 drives, whatever they had together. And they came out trying to run the same things. But for me as a Niners fan watching on TV, again, you're probably obviously closer to the field. His throws were behind his receivers. It looked like his internal clock was sped up. Is that correct? Or correct assumption?
Yeah, so the correct, I think that goes back to what I was saying with the play calling was he was trying to, I think playing the 49ers got to his brain. And I hate to say it like that, but he knew he was playing
Yeah.
against defense and he was trying to not get sacked, not trying to do it. And I don't think the offensive line got better. And that's the problem here. It's like we did sign a good guard. For some reason, and this was the dumbest thing I saw yesterday, was we didn't start our 14th overall pick, who we drafted from Georgia, at left tackle. So hopefully after this we learned that, but his internal clock was sped up. He tried to throw passes I've never seen him try doing. The whole preseason Kool-Aid with this offense, I don't drink it. I told you, I was like, this is not good. This is not good. When everybody's on here, but.
Right. So when that 3 now happened, I felt great because, like you said, in this day and age, you want to kick the ball first because you want the ball in the second half.
Yep.
I love starting and setting the tone defensively because we have tone setters with hitters at all 3 levels. We have Greenlaw, Fred Warner was setting the tone. We'll talk to him about him regarding the defense, Hufanga as well, hitting
Right.
players hard. Steelers players were standing up, but they looked like the wind was getting knocked out of them on some of those hits. So Brock Purdy came out, and I think he did a great job distributing that first drive. He saw it. He was like, okay, Ayuk here, 5 yards. Debo here, 7 yards. Kittle here, another 12 yards. CMC running up the middle. So they distributed it well. One thing I liked about the first drive, I think the Niners were around the 41 to 45-yard line. It was 4th and 1, and they went for it. Usually Kyle will be conservative, and he'll be like, okay, we pushed the ball up a little bit, and we'll punt it into the corner. And he went for it, got the first down with that George Kittle drag route to the left side.
And that, so are we talking about your offense only? And I think offensively, Ayuk's a beast. Debo's a beast. CMC is a beast. Kittle's a beast. Brock Purdy. It's funny because we say all this stuff, and Brock Purdy played. He was very composed. He was very composed and poised. And somebody said it. I think it was Ryan Clark today. He's like, there was a Mr. Irrelevant, and there was a 20th overall pick, but it looked like they were reversed. Like Purdy looked like the 20th overall pick, and Kenny looked like the Mr. Irrelevant. That's true.
He did look more composed on a road game to start the season, but I think he shut up a lot of the doubters because everyone's like, he can't repeat the same success he had last year.
Correct.
And it turns out he is just a gamer. That's what he does. He started pretty hot. He was 12-14, had 2 touchdowns. He finished 19 of 29. It wasn't the best finish, but at that point they're running a lot of clock. Kyle was getting cute with the offensive play calling at the end, which was driving me crazy. I was texting you like crazy. He decided to guard TJ Watt one-on-one with Colton McKivitz, and of course TJ Watt had 3 sacks. You're like, why are we not helping against the defensive player of the year?
It's kind of crazy because I was watching that and I was like, and like I said earlier, I was foreshadowing this is like TJ Watt is kind of like Bosa. I mean, like you try to get all these different things, and you try to put as much as you want in front of them, but they'll get there. And TJ proved once again, like, this team is going to go only as far as he does. And whatever chance we had winning that game was on his shoulders, and he did what he needed to do. I mean, he got the big fumble, he got the big sacks. It just sucks nobody else came and helped him out. So,
I mean, for Kyle, like, I understand you want to win the game, but it's a marathon. You have Super Bowl intentions, right? You want to make it to week 17, 18, 19, 20, which is a Super Bowl. You can't let your quarterback continuously get hit over and over and over again, especially by TJ Watt. You know, you just saw what happened with Hassan Riddick. Took out your quarterback in his Super Bowl chances. So, like, why are we making the same mistake?
Yeah.
I don't know if he was trying to give Colton McKivitz a lesson, but don't practice on TJ Watt. Practice on someone with lesser talent.
And I told you, and I was like, you're not going to see TJ Watt every week, which is fine, but still, I know what you're trying to say with the
I
patch.
told you we have to watch Colton McKivitz for 17 weeks.
Exactly. It was a great comeback. I was like, yeah, I mean, you're right. It's not, you're not wrong, my man. So.
No. But yeah, how about Brandon Ayuk versus Patrick Peterson?
Where do you want me to start with that nonsense?
We could talk about him breaking his ankles multiple times. We could talk about the contested touchdown catch, whichever one you had a better
Is
view
my
of.
face giving a tell? Because my face is giving a tell. I think my tells are giving you what I think about it, Alex. Because my man talked all week about tells and this and that. To get proceeded by getting just absolutely destroyed by obviously great wide receiver, great everything, but destroyed by a guy that you think you could cover, and it wasn't even close. It wasn't even close to what he could do, and he tripped on one. The catch in the end zone right in front of me just proved another point to me. It was just like, this guy just doesn't, like, he just wanted to talk, and I said it to you. I was like, I hated that he talked. And it pissed me off. I was like, why are you giving them more bulletin board material than they needed to? You didn't need to do that. You really didn't need to do that. Yet you did that, and you wanted to be cutesy and get mossed in the middle of the freaking field. And don't think I'm not just going to be here and only pick on Patrick Peterson. I'm going to pick on the
I understand.
defenders. But he's the one.
But he asked for it.
He is the one who talked a shit ton, and he's the asshole who needs to fess up and be like, I'm new on this team. I'm a leader on this team, blah, 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 blah. And you need to take the hits, and you need to take everybody's crap because you deserve it. So that's my 2 cents.
Well, outside of Tyreek Hill, who's an absolute monster for 215 yards, a couple touchdowns, there wasn't a better wide receiver this week than Ayuk. He had 8 catches, 120 plus yards, 2 touchdowns. There was no other better receiver that played this week, in my opinion.
Not even close. Not even close. And it's utterly unfathomable. You pride yourself on defense, and you do that. I'm just sick to my stomach. I'm just sick. I don't know.
The players definitely heard it in the locker room beforehand.
I mean, they asked them. They asked him. They asked Kyle. They asked all of them. They said.
Did you hear what Purdy said after the game?
No, what he said.
In his post-game interview, he was talking about the touchdown passes that he threw. How you burned him on the first one. He slipped and fell, but he was like, I just stood up there on the contested catch. He goes, was that Patrick Peterson? And then one of the media members was like, yeah, that was him. He was like, yeah, that one felt good. So
yeah, I'm fucking glad he said it. That fucking asshole. Sorry.
Yeah, you like to see that fire in him. Like, okay, let's see what you got.
Competitive game. Don't give them extra edges, and that's what pisses me off about these guys. It's like, especially against a team that already has, I mean, Hall of Famer on Hall of Famer on Hall of Famer on each side. So.
And guess how many interceptions Patrick Peterson has against Kyle Shanahan in 10 games? When Kyle Shanahan coached teams.
How many? Yeah.
0.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
He doesn't know the tell of the offense.
Yeah, sounds about right to me right there. So this really is kind of like a we'll wait and see situation, because I mean, for us, I knew we were going to lose to you guys. We got absolutely humiliated from what we did, but there needed to be more of a fight, and there wasn't, and it kind of hurt me a little. I kind of was like, this is something that I wanted to see in the sense of like a pride thing, but it just never showed up. So
they got their first down with about 1:30 to go in the end of the second quarter. They went on that 95-yard drive to score their only touchdown.
Their only
What
touch
was going on? Yeah, what was going on that drive that you noticed that wasn't happening earlier?
just quick passes. Kenny looked composed pretty much. He used the outside more than the inside. Najee ran for a pretty good chunk of yards. It just looked like everything was getting completed the way that we needed it. And sometimes sometimes you just need a game to end. You just need that ending to a game for everybody to be like, okay, this is what's happening, and we're gonna move forward. So I don't know, that last drive kind of like put everything in perspective, and it was getting better at the end, and hopefully it continues. I don't know. I'm just more so upset with why couldn't we do that from the beginning? So.
Yeah, I think for me, watching that drive, he was playing more carefree
Yeah.
because his back was against the wall. There's 1 minute, 2 minutes left on the clock. He's like, all right, I'm just gonna not think. I'm just gonna snap the ball, first read, second read, get the ball out. And that's where you're seeing like Allen Robinson get a couple of balls, Calvin Austin got a couple of balls. He really impressed me from the receiver side. I was more worried about the receivers than your running backs because I knew the Niners defense is always a stout run defense historically.
Right.
I think they gave up 41 rushing yards yesterday compared to our 188. So it was like, all right, got to keep Johnson in check, got to keep Pickens in check. But then you had other guys step up late like Robinson and Austin. A couple of things that bothered me on that drive was Lenoir. So I do have to give him credit. He had several tackles. I think it was 10 tackles on it by himself. But he had the late hit that gave him the extra 15-yard penalty on the out route around the 47-yard line. And then you guys had a third down and goal on the 7-yard line, and they called an illegal contact at the 3-yard line, even though that was within the first 5 yards, which refreshed it to first down again. And that's when Pat got his touchdown catch. So they kind of shot themselves in the foot with those penalties as well. Not to like discredit the Steelers because they were moving it, but it was just frustrating to see that. Self-inflicted penalties. I think we had like 11 or 12 penalties yesterday.
Mm-hmm. I think really it's just, that's also the thing. We put you guys in a situation where you guys were making mistakes. And I think that's also something that I noticed for sure was when we were moving faster, you guys didn't have time to line up. And Lenoir, I think, is the guy you mentioned who had the late hit. And I think they were just thinking off beat. And then that's where that drive came into play because I thought Kenny was playing carefree. We're getting you guys into situations where you're not doing things. So, I don't know. Overall, this game really hurt my heart. So that's why I'm like very somber.
So we get into the second half, and that's when you get the shot or the injection of CMC. He was pretty quiet that first half. Seemed like he was kind of under control. Then he blew up for a touchdown.
That spin move was the spin move of the century. I cannot, that was amazing what he did. And it was to the point where I thought we had him dead at rights, like dead in our face. And I was like, bro, that's insane. Like, that's crazy. And it kind of took me by off guard because I was like, usually when 5 Steelers are around him, he's going down. Spin out of it, right. Ran. And one of them was Minkah. And I was like, damn, this is hurting a little bit. So
I will say Minkah did not have the best game I've seen. He was pretty quiet. I didn't hear his name too much on the TV commentator.
Yeah. I mean, I think personally, I think a lot of guys need to look inward and figure out what they want and figure out if they need to do things correctly. Because, like I said, the only person who showed up was TJ. So, and he deserves the game. He deserves everybody's game checks.
He definitely played his heart out. He seems like he was the only one on defense.
He was the only one who was playing with heart. He was the only one who was playing with any fucking heart. So, And then CMC does what he does. Debo does what he does. Next thing you know, Michael was crying on the way home and asking why did he become a Steelers fan.
The hard week 1 overreaction.
Very, very, very overall reaction. So.
But yeah, CMC had 152 yards and a touchdown, so he came to play. I don't like that they kept running him in the fourth quarter when the game was handled. I would like to go see Elijah Mitchell get some touches.
That was good that they stopped running him, but at the same time, I was wondering why so many people stayed in after a little bit. I was like, couldn't they just put some like backups in? Not saying that as in like take it easy on us. I was more so
No, yeah.
Like it was kind of surprised. I feel like the game's at hand. Why would you risk any injuries, stuff like that? I think we took out Kenny pretty early. Kenny a little bit after that too. So.
Yeah, just like when you have those dreams of a long season, you kind of want to keep things in check, but at the same time, no injury report this morning, so that was good to hear that everyone was healthy. I know you guys had a few injuries with Johnson, Hayward, and a couple other guys.
Johnson and Hayward are probably going to miss a lot of weeks. I hate to say it like that. Freiermuth, he got hit hard by Fred Warner. It looked like he was done. Like Fred Warner killed him. And he came back.
He should have sat after that hit. Then he got hit again by Hufanga in the end zone. I was like, oh my god.
I mean, the dude is a tough guy for taking both of them. So.
Freiermuth is a tank.
And hopefully being a man doesn't ruin him because he is now still on the injury reports with a chest injury. So.
Yeah, I saw that he was out for that. Another thing, you guys had McFarland had 90 return yards.
Yeah, he's a good returner.
He was bringing the ball out.
Yep, he actually, I think that's how he made on the roster, to be honest, because when you have Najee and Warren, usually somebody's an odd man out, and I guess it wasn't him. Benny Snell didn't get re-signed. We let him go. So McFarland probably just stayed on because of his return yards. I mean, obviously, your boy Ray. So.
Ray almost fumbled. You saw it. I told you. I said he might fumble. He's so excited.
It really popped, and I was like, oh, there it goes. But when it popped, he laid on it, so it stayed within him. So he pulled it back in. So.
Quick injection. What were your thoughts on when Brock Purdy fumbled the first time and he recovered? What was happening in the stadium? Because
they were
different on TV.
They were pissed that it wasn't called a fumble, and I was like, it doesn't matter. There was no clear recovery. I was like, he clearly recovered the football. Brock did, and everybody in the stadium were calling the refs stupid and stuff like that. There were a couple the fans really went after the refs this game, and I said, we're down 30 points. I don't know what you want the refs to do to save this day. So.
I can't believe T.J. Watt didn't wrestle that ball away from him. I was like, how is he holding on to it?
I thought he got it, but he came up and there was no ball and nobody had. Our team had the ball. It looked like Brock kept his poise and kept the ball. So.
Yeah, well, T.J. Watt didn't let that happen a second time. He made sure he was getting that second one.
Clear path. I saw it. He had a clear path. That chop he always does, that ball's coming out. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter if you're Tom Brady. That ball is coming out. He is lifetime. He is a generational talent. I'm upset. Hopefully, we could get him at least a chance at a Super Bowl ring because he's only been to 3 playoff games and he's lost every 3 because the offense sucks or the team around him is not good. So we'll see.
What were your thoughts on Joey Porter? I was more excited to see him play. He didn't get any run.
My thoughts on Joey Porter? He looked really good on the sidelines. Didn't play.
Yeah, they were hyping it up before the game, and then I just never saw him on the field.
It's kind of crazy. Like I said with Broderick, this guy named Becton, and Joey Porter, I thought all 3 would have some sort of plays that would help out. Like they would try to put them in, and they didn't. They just wanted to keep bashing their head with these guys that we know they suck, and they just never it never transpired. And I was like, I was upset. And hopefully next week against the Browns, we see them, especially Joey Porter, because it can't get any worse than Mr. Patrick Peterson. So.
Yeah, he did not step up. What were your thoughts on number 95, Drake Jackson? He's our second year player from USC.
The D tackle?
He's a defensive end. He was the one that had the 3 sacks for us.
I thought, honestly, I kept seeing him and I thought it was Greenlaw, and I was like, oh shit, Greenlaw is really killing us. And I was like, oh no, this is a
yeah.
And yeah,
Greenlaw's 57. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's what 49ers have been known for now, the D line. Like they just keep building that D line every single time. Hargraves is now on your guys' D line, who used to play for us and the Eagles. I mean, you have Armstead. I mean, there's a reason why you gave away DeForest Buckner when you did. Like your guys' D line has always been sound since 2012, 13. So
that one still hurts giving up Buckner because they traded him for a first-round pick, and that turned out to be Kinlaw, who's hasn't panned out yet, but he had a good game yesterday.
Yeah,
so in the middle.
Yeah, but it also goes back to money in the bank and who you want to pay at the end of the day. So
true, but that's why they gave Hargrave the $84 million, because they missed on the Kinlaw pick. If Kinlaw hit, you're not paying Hargrave $84 million. Kinlaw. That's like, oh, John Lynch, I made a mistake. I'm gonna pay Hargraves to play here.
At least with John Lynch, even with the Trey Lance and like Kinlaw and all those guys, he has done enough to keep you guys at Super Bowl championship level. Because when you miss a pick like Trey Lance, you get fired. Like there is no doubt.
Done.
He's lucky that Brock Purdy panned out. He's lucky that he made the trades that he did. He's lucky the team is where it's at, because, man, it deserves to be shattered. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree at all, because every other coach or GM is getting let go for those decisions. But like you said, he's kept them in Super Bowl contention year in, year out, when they're healthy, at least.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
that's all you could ask for.
Yeah, once you keep everybody healthy, the rest is pretty simple. So.
Yeah, they're on the books for a lot of big contracts, as we've talked about. So they're putting their money where their mouth is. They're going for it.
Highest paid defensive players, highest paid tackle, highest paid this, highest paid that. So I think Kittle's still Hawkinson beat him, but he was the highest paid tight end. So.
I know I'm giving him a hard time on the little things like the Colton McKivitz and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, this was probably one of the most complete performances I've seen in the John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan era.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I hope you guys look like that, I guess. I mean, at the end of the day, like I said before, it's one thing to lose. It's another thing to lose without any pride. And I'm not saying we should have kept it close with you, but if we lost that way and we showed some pride, sure, but it just didn't show well. It is the whole preseason hype really drinking the Kool-Aid. A lot of people were like, oh, the Steelers this, the Steelers that. I was like, hold on, pump the brakes. What did you see last year that made you think Kenny Pickett could do this? Like, yeah, he did those game-winning drives, all this stuff, but at the end of the day, shit. Like, he's going against backups in preseason, so there's nothing going crazy. So,
and they just didn't have the ball during the game. You look at time of possession; it's 37 minutes for the 49ers, 23 minutes for the Steelers. They're having a lot of 3 and outs. You're not staying on the field, so it comes back down to 2 things: time of possession, right, and turnover battle, which was 2-1 in favor of the Niners. So. That's kind of the theme of yesterday's game.
Right. I don't know, man. It just was, like I said, unprepared, inexcusable shit. And I hope we learn, because it was great. I mean, honestly, and I say this fully, losing to you guys week 1, probably best case scenario I could ask for. Because if this was the Browns, the Bengals, the Ravens, I would be 10 times in a worse mood. Because it's your division rival or the AFC. You need those wins to have tiebreakers. we're not in a competitive thing with you guys unless we go to the Super Bowl. And obviously, you want to win.
Yeah, non-conference game, correct? Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, I want to win this game for pride's sake, but at the same time. So.
Yeah, I wish I was there with you. That looked like a lot of fun for me.
Be there with. It just seemed like I said, and the takeover with the 49ers, the vibes were just something. I should have known when the clouds looked like what they did, and I was like, it's gonna be that, huh? It's gonna be that type of day.
This is why I couldn't wait till this game, because I knew the product would be better than what we were talking about in the offseason as a Niners fan. All they kept talking about was Trey Lance, Sam Darnold, what's going to happen with Brock Purdy? Is his elbow okay? Okay, what about Nick Bosa? He's not in the building. This team's not going to win it, or at least look the part. And then they came out and shut everybody up, and it looks like they're playing the part now. This is like, okay,
I mean,
are they for real?
They look like the team that's supposed to go to the Super Bowl those 3 years that you guys went to the NFC Championship game. But this one, I mean, that Brock Purdy kid, man, he's the key. If he continues to do what he does, it's going to be the best quarterback you've had since Colin Kaepernick when you guys went to the Super Bowl. So, Jimmy G.
Yeah, I mean, Jimmy G did go to Super Bowl, but and I think we went in spite of him.
Jimmy G, bless his heart. Let's be honest. He wasn't. Going to the Super Bowl was mainly on your defense, and you guys had such a great, it was a great season on defense. That was the intense defense. I mean, now it's still the intense defense, but back then it was like just score 7, we'll win the game kind of thing.
Yeah, just throw the ball 8 times, don't turn it over, and we're gonna win the game.
Exactly. Brock Purdy is more capable than a game manager. I think he can win games when he needs to. The ball to Ayuk on Patrick Peterson, Jimmy G is not throwing that ball. Purdy is throwing that ball, and that was pretty good. So
another thing I wanted to get your perspective on between him and Jimmy G was his mobility, because there was a lot of times where he was escaping the pocket or did a spin move, or he would sidestep and then step up into the pocket, find Debo or Ayuk for a first down. What were your thoughts on that? Okay, we got him, but then we don't got him.
It's like I said, man. It's kind of crazy because he doubted. I mean, a lot of people doubted him in a lot of different ways, and he looked electric. He looked like a guy that had athleticism. He's a guy who could make every pass. He just was somebody that really I saw last year, and I said, "Is this real?" And then when I saw what he did with that rollouts and being able to throw on the run, like I said, Jimmy G's not doing that. Sam Darnold's not doing that, and maybe Trey Lance couldn't do it, and that's why you did what you did. So this kid being the last pick in a draft and doing all this stuff, geez, I mean, he's special. He is special. So.
What point NBA player would you compare him to? Just out of curiosity.
NBA.
Past or present?
Huh?
Past or present? I'll tell you because I heard it from another radio station this morning, so I just was curious what your thoughts on that were.
I think he is. There's 2 people in my head. I think he's Steve Nash and Chris Paul. And I think he makes everybody around him. I think everybody around him is good, right? Everybody around him is good. Now take away their off the court bullshit, because I know both of them have a bullshit.
No, we're talking strictly basketball.
They can make both those guys. When I watch them, they both can make any pass anywhere, and they can get to the players around them are so good, but them to get them to the ball and then to put them in the right position, that's what I feel Purdy is. He can put them in the right position because Debo's good, Ayuk's good, Kittle, CMC, but him being able to coordinate all those guys together, shoot, man, it's it's electric to watch him get him into the right position. So.
Yep, his ability to distribute the ball, but also not afraid to take that 3-point shot like Steve Nash or Chris Paul. All right, when it's do or die, I'm going to throw that contested catch one-on-one. There's no window. It has to be right there on the back shoulder. I'm going to trust my guy to get it.
Exactly. And I think that's why I think he's a point guard more than anything. And I think you guys really, John Lynch needs to kiss his feet because he's the reason why he still has a job. So
here's where a lot of 49ers content creators talk about, which I'm not sure if this is entirely true, but basically John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan have a lot to say about the first, second, third round draft picks that they have, and then they kind of really depend on the scout team 4 through 7 on like what they see. So we have a lot of gems for fourth round and on that have these contracts.
It seems like, hey, listen to your scouting department because sometimes they're better than the GM.
The scouting department got Purdy, Hufanga, Kittle, Dre Greenlaw, all these players that are impact players.
I'm kind of pissed because Hufanga is Troy Polamalu's prodigy. And for the Steelers not to get somebody that was trained by Troy Polamalu, it's kind of seems out of whack. But at the same time, you see why. So.
Yeah. You would think an organization that doesn't care too much about the statistics in terms of like height, weight, hand grip strength or hand grip size and speed and strength, that they would look for alternative ways to change the game.
Yeah, and
because you've never seen someone like Polamalu, and you might not ever see someone like him again in terms of just timing and knowledge. And
your boy Fonga is doing a pretty good job. He's doing a pretty good impression. Right?
He's got a long way to go, but he was all pro last year, so that was kind of impressive.
Exactly, and we have Minka, but it would be nice to have both. You know what I mean? Being very selfish here. The years we won our Super Bowls, we had Troy, and then one year we had Ryan Clark, and the other year we had Townsend and all that stuff, and we were built to win. We were built to win those years, and I'm not saying we're not. I'm just saying we're getting close to a dangerous spot for me in the sense of like not being able to be happy with my team. So
I think just the same way you said that you're not going to face TJ Watt every week, you're not going to face the defense every week. Specifically, you're not going to face Fred Warner every week because they showed a lot of replays where you guys drew up the perfect run for Harris and Jalen, and the hole was there. But then Warner is just a missile. He's seeking missile from right to left, left and right, and he's plugging that hole
way home. And it was But oh man,
what does Pickett need to do next week against the Browns?
I think he really needs to just focus up on finding the right guy at the right time. He needs to go to his first read, his second read, and take off because he can run. I think really we need to start Broderick and see it can't get worse. You need to start. I know you asked about just Kenny, but I'm saying in general, I think.
No, as a team, yeah.
I think I need Broderick. I think Porter. I think what's his name? Becton. They all need to have some plays a lot more than what they did this year or this week. And we go from there. Seriously, it cannot get any worse. So might as well play a new hand. Like your old hand didn't work. Time to play a new one. Oh, that's what you guys better for you, but I don't think you need it.
They do have to face Myles Garrett, but Deshaun Watson did not look crisp at all. He was throwing the ball straight.
And if there's one thing for their skin, it's those Cleveland Browns.
He's throwing straight to the Cincy defenders. It was bad.
Those Cleveland Browns are our little brother, so hopefully we can keep it that way, but we'll see.
It's going to be a Minka Fitzpatrick game, calling it. He was quiet week 1.
God's willing, on my birthday. I'm praying.
So, what were your thoughts when Fred Warner tipped the ball up? Hufanga's returning it. You're at this point, you're like,
I told him to score. I said, go score. I literally said, score. End this game so I can go. I left early anyways, but I said if they score, I mean, like, I just couldn't take it anymore. I was just like, add insult to injury, please.
And he threw the lateral to Gibson. Did you see that, or did you already leave at that point?
Say that again.
So when he threw the lateral to Gibson on the interception return, were you there, or did you leave already?
And this is how it is. Now they're just toying with us.
I look like something out of Madden. I was like, this is my team.
It was like I said, a big brother thing. I was like, it was a big brother against little brother thing. So it is what it is.
I think it was good that they played and lost like that in week one, just so they know. I mean, not to toot my team's horn, but they know, okay, that's the standard that it's going to take to win a Super Bowl eventually. If it's not this year, 2 years, 3 years down the road.
All right. I'm not saying the
This is
Steelers.
what you need.
Yeah, you guys definitely are Super Bowl ready. So hopefully you guys can do it. You guys have the Rams next week. They look pretty good, but I think you guys got them. So.
We have had the number the last 3-4 years, but they looked phenomenal. I definitely picked the Seahawks in my pick'em, so I lost that one, but they looked good yesterday. And Cooper Kupp's out, so that's going to help us.
Yeah. Anyway.
I'm not afraid of Cam Akers.
There's nothing to really about, but is there any final thoughts?
No, just thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. You know, I was looking for this for a while now, so I'm glad that we were able to get it on.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you guys for rocking with us. This is my boy Alex. I am Michael the Pharaoh Shanuti. Please follow us on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, wherever you get your podcast. Follow us on IG and Twitter, as well as follow our sponsors. I put it on the bio. Stuck Up Clothing, where finest fashion money can buy. Eyesight Mobile Eyewear Company, where you can get your eyewear right to your door, as well as Seductions by Jax. Get your hair done, nail done, everything done. Follow them on IG and get ready for the summer. This is a franchise. Stay breezy, stay easy. One love.